right, so we're diving into this Newsroom Guyana article, and it's called "After Years of Waiting, Rice Farmers and Millers Get Money Owed."
Okay.
And on the surface, it looks like a happy ending.
Yeah.
Guyanese rice farmers and millers finally getting paid for rice shipments from almost a decade ago.
Right.
But there's a lot more to it.
Oh, yeah, there's always more to the story.
Yeah, so to really kind of get into this, we need to understand all the different forces at play here.
Absolutely.
The article mentions this Petrocaribe agreement.
Right.
Can you remind me what that was all about?
Yeah, so Petrocaribe was this deal between Guyana and Venezuela.
Okay.
And basically, Guyana traded rice for oil.
Interesting.
And it really was a lifeline for the Guyanese rice sector. It drove a lot of investment, expanded land use for rice cultivation, and just had this ripple effect of all these positive outcomes like increased exports and employment.
So it sounds like it was a pretty good deal.
It was.
For a while, at least.
Yeah, for a while.
But then things kind of went south?
Yeah, they did.
Did they?
In 2015, a new government came into power in Guyana, the EPNUAFC.
Right.
And they lost both the Venezuelan market through Petrocaribe and the Panamanian rice market.
So they lost both?
Both of them.
Wow.
Yeah. So you can imagine the impact on this industry that had been thriving based on these trade deals.
Yeah, that must have been devastating for everyone who was depending on those agreements to make a living.
Absolutely.
The article mentions over $450 million owed from the Petrocaribe deal alone.
Wow.
And then a whopping $1.5 billion total for both deals.
Yeah, that's a lot of money.
It's a huge amount.
Yeah.
How did the rice industry cope with such a massive financial hit?
It wasn't easy. A lot of farmers and millers were left in a really tough spot.
Yeah.
Struggling to stay afloat with, so much money outstanding.
Right.
And, this wasn't just some, business transaction gone wrong. This was the livelihoods of, countless people hanging in the balance.
So then a new government comes in and promises to make things right.
Exactly. The PPPC government took over, and they made it a priority to fulfill this promise to pay those outstanding debts.
And they actually followed through.
They did.
Wow.
On December 29th, 2024, Minister of Agriculture Zulfikar Mustafa, he personally handed over checks totaling $437 million to farmers and millers in Region 2.
I'm kind of curious about that personal touch.
Yeah.
Why do you think the minister made a point of handing those checks over himself instead of, just doing a bank transfer or something?
Well, I think it's a really powerful gesture.
Yeah.
These farmers and millers had been waiting for nearly a decade, facing all this uncertainty and hardship. This wasn't just about clearing a debt. It was about acknowledging their struggle and showing a commitment to supporting the industry.
Yeah.
That personal touch speaks volumes.
It definitely does.
Yeah.
It seems like Minister Mustafa wasn't shy about pointing fingers at the previous government either.
No, he definitely had some strong words for the APNUAFC.
What did he say?
He criticized their approach to the rice sector.
Okay.
Particularly, their labeling of it as like a private business and their lack of investment during their time in office.
Right. And then he emphasized this government's commitment to doing things differently.
Absolutely. He made it clear that they intend to take care of every citizen.
Right.
And highlighted their heavy investments in agricultural infrastructure.
Okay.
Specifically, over $5 billion invested in Region 2's agriculture.
Well, hold on. $5 billion.
It's a lot.
That's a lot of money.
Yeah, it's not just a handout.
Yeah, it seems like they're trying to revamp the entire sector.
Yeah.
But is it enough?
That's a good question.
I mean, could this lead to dependency on government subsidies?
Right.
Or is this a strategic investment for, long-term sustainability?
Yeah, and what does this investment actually look like?
Right, like what are they actually doing?
Yeah, let's dive into the details of that $5 billion investment and see what it means for the future of Guyanese rice.
All right, let's do it. Okay, so we're back. And I have to say, I'm pretty intrigued by this $5 billion investment in Region 2's agriculture.
Yeah.
That's a lot of money.
Yeah.
It's a pretty bold move, but the details matter.
Right.
Like, what are they actually doing with all that money?
Well, it's not just about, throwing money at a problem, right? It's about strategic investment.
Right.
Remember those farm-to-market roads the minister mentioned?
Yeah.
5 of them are under construction right now in Region 2.
Yeah, the article mentioned that, but I got to be honest, my first thought was like, roads. That's it.
Yeah.
Help me understand why those roads are so crucial.
Okay, so think of it this way, right? You're a rice farmer. You have this amazing bumper crop.
Yep.
But you're miles from the nearest market.
Right?
Your options are limited, and the clock is ticking, right?
Mm.
You got to get that rice to the buyers before it spoils.
Yeah.
So that's where these farm-to-market roads come in.
Okay.
They improve accessibility, they reduce transportation costs, and ultimately it helps farmers get their product to market faster and in better condition.
So it's a direct line to profitability.
Exactly.
That's a game changer for sure.
Yeah.
But roads are just one piece of the puzzle, right?
You're thinking like a true duck diver here.
What other infrastructure upgrades are they working on?
Well, the investment also includes things like irrigation systems,
Okay.
drainage improvements, storage facilities.
Got it.
These are all essential for ensuring consistent production and minimizing losses due to things like, weather fluctuations or pests.
So they're trying to create a more stable and predictable environment for rice farming.
Exactly.
Instead of just like reacting to every crisis that pops up, they're trying to get ahead of it.
Exactly. It's a proactive approach that aims to strengthen the entire agricultural sector and, make it less vulnerable to all these external shocks. And remember, it's not just about rice. A stronger agricultural sector benefits the whole Guyanese economy.
Right. It's like a ripple effect, right?
Exactly.
More stable incomes for farmers, more jobs in the agricultural industry,
Right.
increased food security for the nation.
Precisely. And, don't underestimate the potential for export growth.
That's true.
By investing in infrastructure and boosting efficiency, Guyana can become more competitive in the global rice market.
Okay, that makes sense. But let's be realistic. The global rice market is fiercely competitive.
It is.
Even with all these investments, there are still so many factors that could impact the profitability of rice farming,
For sure.
like climate change,
Yeah.
fluctuating commodity prices,
Uh-huh.
ever-changing trade policies.
Right.
How can Guyanese rice farmers stay afloat with all that uncertainty?
That's where innovation comes in.
Okay.
Guyanese rice farmers need to be forward-thinking. They need to adapt to the changing landscape,
Right.
embracing new technologies and sustainable practices.
Like what?
Think drought-resistant rice varieties,
Okay.
precision agriculture techniques to optimize fertilizer use,
Interesting.
even exploring value-added products like rice flour or rice bran oil.
So it's not just about growing more rice, it's about diversifying
Yes.
and adding value.
Yeah.
Like moving beyond those traditional methods.
Right. And it can't be done in isolation. Right?
No, this requires collaboration farmers working with researchers,
Okay.
policymakers engaging with industry leaders, even consumers demanding sustainable practices.
That sounds complicated.
It's a complex ecosystem, but it's also an incredible opportunity.
Yeah.
If they can get it right, Guyanese rice can not only survive, but thrive in the 21st century.
Oh. Wow. Okay. So we've covered a lot of ground here, but I still have one big question
Okay.
that's kind of nagging at me.
What is it?
The minister was quite vocal about the previous government's missteps.
Yes.
He even said they labeled rice as just a private business.
Right.
Which sounds like a pretty dismissive attitude towards a sector that plays such a vital role in the economy.
It does.
What do you make of that statement?
Well,
And how does this whole situation, the debts, the bailouts, the investments,
yeah.
all tie into this broader conversation about the role of governments in supporting key industries?
That's a key question, and it's one that goes beyond Guyana.
This situation really brings to light the complex relationship between governments, international trade, and the well-being of local economies.
Yeah.
Ready to delve into that?
We've been talking about these Guyanese rice farmers.
Right.
And it's really interesting how everything is so interconnected.
It is.
Like, it's not just about this one country or one industry.
It's not.
It's global.
Yeah.
The minister's comment about rice being labeled just a private business got me thinking,
Yeah.
what is the role of government
Right.
when, like, whole industries are facing these huge disruptions?
Yeah, it's a debate that's been going on forever. On the one hand,
Yep.
you've got this argument for free markets let the private sector handle things,
Yeah.
minimal government intervention.
Right.
But then on the other hand,
Yeah.
when livelihoods are at stake,
Yeah.
when you have these whole sectors impacted by these global shifts, it's hard to argue against
Right.
some level of government support.
Right. And especially in a case like this,
Mm-hmm.
where it was political decisions
Right.
and trade deals that led to this crisis.
Yeah.
It's not like these farmers did anything wrong.
Exactly. And it raises this whole question of fairness.
Right?
Should they bear the full weight of these political and economic forces?
Right.
Or does the government have a responsibility to step in and provide some kind of protection?
Right. Or assistance.
Exactly.
And it's not just about handing out money.
No.
We've been talking about these infrastructure investments,
Uh-huh.
and fostering innovation.
Right. It has to be a multifaceted approach.
Yeah.
You know, it's about creating a system that's more resilient, one that can adapt to change.
Right.
Think about this whole situation with the Guyanese rice industry came from this reliance on just two export markets
Venezuela,
and
Panama,
which
and-
disappeared overnight.
yeah, due to political shifts.
So diversification is key.
Exactly.
Right, not putting all your eggs in one basket.
Don't put all your eggs in one basket.
What else can be done?
To prevent situations like this from happening in other industries,
Yeah.
in other countries.
Transparency is crucial.
Okay.
Governments need to be upfront with their citizens about the potential risks and benefits of these international trade deals.
Right.
Like, what are the possible downsides? What safeguards are in place?
Okay.
These farmers and workers deserve to be informed.
Right. So they can advocate for their own interests.
Exactly.
I like the empowering people with knowledge so they can make informed decisions.
Right, and communication is key.
Okay.
There needs to be this open dialogue between governments, businesses, farmers, and workers.
It sounds like a lot of work.
It is. It's a lot of moving parts, but everyone needs to be at the table,
Okay.
sharing information, working together to create a system that is more stable and equitable.
So diversification, transparency, and collaboration.
That's it.
That's a tall order.
It is a complex issue, but I think at its core,
Yeah.
it's about finding a balance.
Right.
How do we harness the benefits of globalization, but minimize the risks for the people who are most vulnerable?
Right. How do we make it both economically viable
Right.
and socially responsible?
That's the million-dollar question.
Yeah, those are the questions we should be asking.
Yeah.
And I don't think there's just one easy answer.
Nope.
But what this whole deep dive has shown me
Yeah.
is that these conversations need to be happening.
Absolutely.
We have to be asking these tough questions.
Yeah.
Looking beyond the headlines.
Yes.
Understanding the impact of the choices that we're making.
It's all connected.
As consumers, as citizens, as global participants.
Well said.
It's easy to get caught up in just the day-to-day and forget about the bigger picture.
It is.
But, stories like this remind us that even events that seem far away,
Yeah.
they can impact our lives.
They do.
This has been a fascinating journey.
It has.
We started with this story about payments to rice farmers.
Right.
And we ended up talking about some of the most pressing issues facing our world today.
Yeah. It just goes to show you never know where curiosity will lead.
That's the beauty of a deep dive.
That's right. Keep asking questions. Keep exploring and keep learning.
That's a wrap on this episode of The Deep Dive.
Thanks for listening.
We hope you enjoyed it.
See you next time.
Until next time, stay curious.